Hitched up and ready to go to Elk Neck State Park. I'll bring you back when we get there. Okay, we have made it to our site. We are in Site 5 in the northeast loop. We've been in this site before, and I've also stayed in that site right there, site number 3. Of course, there's Tim and Dawn and Big Al, and that's Gene and Brian. So the gang's all here. So we'll take a quick look at this site for those of you watching and haven't seen the other videos. I'll put a link to one of them in here. You hear Phoebe trying to figure out where I'm at. We do have our flag out. And you can see nice paved road. And the other nice thing about this site, perfectly level side to side. So I just had to drop the tongue to level it front to back. You notice I have it just a little bit high in the front, and that's so if the air conditioner kicks in, the water drains off the back side. I have my carpet out because it's like a gravel area. Phoebe's got her double chair there. A lot of times she'll sit in one of these. These are the chairs I switched to with my back issues. These are helping me. So we have the welcome mat out. I pulled the table because I cook a lot on my electric fry pan. And I even bake in that sometimes. The site does have a picnic table, has a lantern and trash holder, and a fire ring with a grill on the top. Now, one thing to remember, the Maryland state parks are alcohol free, so you can't bring booze in to drink it or beer. So just a heads up on that. This loop is pet friendly. You see there is Phoebe J. And the back of the site is nice. You can see you've really got nothing behind you. And you could even put a pretty large trailer in here, because I could have backed those wheels all the way up to here and had the back end hang over a bit. So this is a really big site. Most of the sites in Maryland state parks are like that. And then over on the service side, we do have full hookups. So we have electric, and you can see the electric is 30, 50, or 20. It does have water. Now I always have water pressure valve on here, and it's got a sewer, but the sewer is kind of towards the front, so I had to run all 3 pipes to hook that up. But I did it, so we're ready. Now, as you can see on this drive, this is the new road to the new Turkey Point Lighthouse parking area. So in the past, there was a very tiny parking area and you had a really long walk. And that parking area has been changed, and they put the new parking area much closer to the Turkey Point Lighthouse. You can see how nice this new parking lot is, and it's much further up the pathway, and you can get through that gate. If you talk to the rangers, there's 2 handicap spots up at the lighthouse. They did a really nice job making the lighthouse more accessible, and it does look ADA compliant. Scooters with the larger wheels and wheelchairs with the bigger wheels could easily go down that path to the lighthouse. So here you can see the new trail from the parking lot is only 0.4 miles. actually help the lighthouse anyway.
Yeah, that's for sure.
Because people can make a half a mile.
I don't think we need a coat.
Here's Miss Molly. She's making another walk out to Turkey Point Lighthouse.
It's the last.
11 years old and she's still hanging in there, right, Molly? Molly, she's looking good. Tim's been feeding her those eggs in the morning. Her coat's getting shiny now. So as part of the improvement with the parking lot, they've also graded this pathway that leads from the parking lot up to the lighthouse. And it's less than a half a mile. I think officially it's 0.4 miles up to the lighthouse. And easily a wheelchair with the larger wheels or accessibility scooter could ride on this pathway. You see that they did grade it so it's relatively level and it's compacted. So they did a really nice job at improving it so that nearly everybody has access to the lighthouse. And of course, the views from the lighthouse are absolutely spectacular. The Turkey Point Light is a historic lighthouse at the head of the Chesapeake Bay. The tower is only 35 foot, but it sits on a bluff that makes it stand greater than 100 feet. So this lighthouse is the third tallest lighthouse on the Chesapeake Bay. It's also known for the large number of women who served as lighthouse keeper. And it opened officially in 1833, made of brick. And in 1947, the lighthouse was automated. Now, Congress had appropriated $5,000 for this light in early 1833. It was built by John Donahue and completed in July of 1833. And he basically used the same plan as the Concord Point Lighthouse. There was a bit of a delay due to the controversy over the valuation on the acquisition of the land. But eventually, the project got completed. Turkey Point Lighthouse was added to the National Register of Historic Places on December 2nd of 2002. Now I've decided in this video to show you the entire pathway so those of you with potential mobility issues can make a judgment call on whether your device could make it all the way out to the lighthouse. But you can see this area used to be very rough and now it is relatively smooth with compacted crushed stone leveling out the trail and also making it very wide. Gene and Brian.
Here we are.
Walking out to the lighthouse.
That's right.
So how have you been enjoying the new rig?
We like our camper. We like the space.
So they went from the Class C to the Class A and they never looked back. They're enjoying this Class A. So is this the old viewing area?
Yes.
The hawk viewing area, right?
They took
Yeah.
They
The
put
board.
the stuff down?
the board, yeah, the board with all the different types of hawks,
Oh yeah,
the
with
birds.
the
So the parking area is before the old hawk viewing area. Now, they don't have those boards up. Maybe a storm took them down, but they still have a couple of picnic tables here. So this is where you could observe the hawks and the osprey and eagle and anything else you would see.
And there's no butterflies this year.
Yeah.
It looks like this was cut down a little bit.
Is it because we're later in the year?
Like, we usually come this week, like this
Yeah.
weekend. It just might be a little later.
Now, no one's really sure how Turkey Point got its name, but a lot of the old-timers believed that it came from the wild turkeys that once roamed the area back when it was farmland over a century ago. And you'll get to see a bell out here. A fog bell was erected and installed in 1888 to help the mariners as they approached Turkey Point.
Open
Just
area.
learned something.
What? There you go.
What do you mean you just learned it?
Oh.
Look at that.
See, my wife didn't even know that.
Tim just came up with a new piece of information there on
Poop bag.
poop bags and how you can wind them back in, which we didn't know. So that is new information discovered on a hike to Turkey Point Lighthouse.
There it is. There's the light.
In 1922, Clarence Salter serves as the lighthouse keeper. And then in 1925, Fannie Mae Salter, his wife, had taken over. She was 43 years old and named the keeper by President Calvin Coolidge after the death of her husband. So they kept it in the family. And she served there for quite a while. Now, she ended up retiring with 22 years of service when she was 65 years old, and that was in 1947. And then in 1948, the light is changed to a white light that flashes every 6 seconds, so we start to see the automation that was coming in on the lighthouses. And eventually in 1972, the lighthouse keeper's home was torn down as automation took over many of the lighthouses in the United States. So you can see just a little bit of the outline of where the home was, but it is no longer there. You still do have the portalet up here at the lighthouse, in addition to the new ones that they put in the parking lot.
Yep.
I guess they do.
They do.
Somehow they gotta get
Cliffs are hazardous.
they have to get a code to unlock the gate.
And as previously mentioned, you need to contact the duty ranger and make arrangements with the duty ranger to utilize these two spaces. You can tour the lighthouse when it's open. There's Old Glory. So this is the Elk River coming in here. And then on the point down there, if you can see it, that's the Sassafras River and Lloyd Creek, one of my favorite places to fish. The bay to the south. We'll look over on the other side at the northeast and Susquehanna. So this is the Susquehanna River, and then the northeast wraps up this way. So you're at the headwaters of the Chesapeake Bay when you're here. There's Marie. What do you think, Marie?
A lot has changed.
Yeah, they keep improving it. Now, one thing to point out, this lighthouse was in the movie Absolute Power with Clint Eastwood. So the scene where they're pushing the daughter over the edge in the car was filmed right here. So rent that movie and you can see that. Here you go, Molly. You've made it out to the headwaters of the Chesapeake Bay.
And the monarch came over.
And she's smiling.
Yeah.
Gene and Brian
Yeah.
getting their Christmas shot in.
All right.
Director of Photography, Brian Ham. Well, that concludes another successful trip down to Elk Neck State Park in the Northeast Loop. And we're really pleased that they finished up the improvements on the new pathway and parking area for Turkey Point Lighthouse. That'll make it much more accessible for everybody. But no trip to Elk Neck is complete without a stop at Woody's. Here's a quick picture of our table at Woody's. Hey, look, if you enjoyed this video, consider subscribing to the channel. It's free, it helps me out a lot. Also, ring that bell, you'll be notified every time we put up a new video, and give the video a thumbs up. That helps it be seen by a wider audience. But more important than all that, go have some fun out there. Hey, thanks for watching.